What's up, Shadowy Sleuths, and welcome to my first live stream over here on Sinister Silhouettes. I'm Tasha Pierce, and we will be discussing this ongoing Carlee Russell saga. Hey there, Win Grace. So glad to see your face in the place. Always supportive as always. I appreciate it. So, full disclosure here. Yeah, it's not a premiere. I'm about to just go. Um, Full disclosure here. I am getting over the flu, so sniffles, coughs, expect a little bit of that. I'm going to try to be as discreet about it as possible, but I'm going a little bit. I'm just getting over this illness. So let's talk about what we know as far as this Carlee Russell case is concerned. As far as Carlee Russell is concerned, we know that she is a 25-year-old young black girl who the other day made a phone call, a 911 call, to the Hoover Police Department in Alabama. Her 911 call was concerning a toddler that she had seen as she was driving along the freeway. So she said that she was stopping to check on this toddler. She called the police to alert them of the situation and that she was going to wait there for the police. But the police arrived in what can only be considered record time for any police response. This is like one of the best one of the best uh, response times that I have ever heard of from the police. 3 minutes 3 minutes after that 911 call, the first responder showed up, and they found Carlee Russell's car on the side of the freeway. The door was open. There was no toddler in sight, but there was also no Carlee in sight. The car was running, so of course keys are present with the vehicle. Carlee's belongings, to include her purse, cell phone, an Apple Watch, those things were left in the vehicle, and a wig that Carlee had been wearing was left beside the vehicle. So, from the untrained eye, it does not take a rocket scientist to go where your mind would normally go in a situation like this. It appears that the person who was driving this car um, was didn't leave willingly. At least that's what it looked like. And like I say on this channel quite a bit, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. But for days after that, the city of Hoover, the state of Alabama, and eventually national audience became captivated with the story of this young lady who had pulled over in hopes to assist a baby on the side of the freeway and ended up missing. Search parties were executed. Nothing was found. That was up until, I believe, and I should have these dates sitting right here in front of me, until 2 days later. 2 days after Carlee Russell went missing, uh, she miraculously was returned to her family. The story that we have gotten is that she returned home on foot and that she was in a bad state. And that is to quote her mother from the Today Show interview that she did yesterday. But when you start looking at things critically, and this is where I'm probably going to lose some people. And I intentionally held my opinions about this case, well, for two reasons. Reason number one, I was in no condition to talk about it earlier this week when it was first happening. But secondly, the story starts falling apart when you apply critical thinking to it, because I think of myself driving down any freeway 65, 70 miles an hour. By the time I saw something, on the side of the road, I'm already past it. So by the time I think, okay, I saw a baby on the side of the road and stop, I'm at least a half a mile ahead of where that baby was and now in my rear view. So that would mean I would either have to get off the highway at some point and come all the way back around, or I would have to back up. When we watched the highway cam footage of Carlee, we saw neither of those things happen. We saw her not go off and then come back around to check again to see if that really was a baby. Or we didn't see her back up. We didn't see her get out the car and walk back towards where she saw this baby. So that was the first red flag to me in the story, was that when you're driving that fast, it's kind of hard to see something ahead that far and be able to stop on a dime almost to rescue this baby. Then the next part of the story that didn't make a lot of sense was the return home, or what if, let's say, the next part of what didn't make sense was what was not being reported by the police. In a situation where you see a woman who is abducted, a possible child being used as bait, you would have a description of the child, because that would obviously be seen in the same highway cam that we saw Carlee's car in. Then we would also see her being removed in some way, shape, or form, which we saw none of that. When Carlee returned home, the police did an interview with her. They said they were able to speak with her briefly. They were looking to have a more in-depth conversation with her. But when she came home, if there was an actual abductor on the loose, then we would see a description of a person being put out. This is a person of interest in the Carlee Russell case. And it would be put out rather quickly. If there were a child who had been abducted or had been used for bait, there would be some type of alert, whether there was a missing child and the police needed to put out an Amber Alert, or we got a description of this child that she saw on the side. We got none of that. We got none of that. The only thing that we have to go on is the word of the parents and the silence of the police. And the silence of the police speaks a lot of volume. The fact of what they're not saying is almost as important as whatever they're going to say today at 2:30 during this press conference. So I wanted to get on here early so that we could get caught up on the story. Now there is a timeline, and let me get the timeline before we excuse me, I'm about to cough. I'm sorry. Before we get the timeline or before we get to the press conference, I want to get to the timeline of what the police had put out about Carlee. And this timeline was put out like last night, late last night. We started hearing about some extra steps that Carlee had taken besides what was initially reported. So what we initially thought happened was Carlee got off of work at a day spa. She left work, went and picked up some food for her and her mom, and got on the highway. And as she was on the highway, this is when this unfortunate incident allegedly occurred. What we're finding out was a little bit more to it than that. So what we learned is after leaving the colonnade, which is, I guess, the area in which she worked, Carlee went to Target on Highway 280, purchased some snack food items. These items were not located in the vehicle or with her cell phone and wig at the scene of her disappearance. The Hoover Police Department has not located any evidence of a toddler walking down the interstate, nor did they receive any additional calls about a toddler walking down the interstate. Detectives have obtained surveillance video from Carlee's neighborhood, which shows her walking down the sidewalk alone prior to her arrival at her home. The fire department radio traffic obtained by several media outlets shows that medics were dispatched to her residence on an unresponsive but breathing person. That was the term used in the initial dispatch of the Hoover Fire Department to the residents, and the information about her condition was simply a dispatcher relaying information from what a 911 caller told the emergency communicator. So when first responders arrived on the scene, they found Ms. Russell conscious and speaking, and she was transported in that condition. She was conscious, she was speaking, she was not unresponsive. She was transported in a speaking and conscious condition. She was later treated and released from a local hospital. Numerous evidentiary items are still being evaluated, and those items are key in the process of determining exactly what took place in the approximately 49 hours Carlee was missing, but also what took place prior to her disappearance. So that release contained all of the information that Hoover Police Department was willing to share at that time. They did, of course, say that at 2:30 p.m. they will be having this press conference. So I'm looking forward to seeing what can be added to this conversation. Now, we'll start getting into speculation nation. And it's a very dangerous and slippery slope, which is why I did not touch this with a 10-foot pole. I didn't even put because I can't talk much, but I could type. My Twitter fingers is still working 100% well. I didn't type anything. I didn't say anything. The only thing I said is I've got opinions and I'll wait for more information to be out. And the reason I did that is because I could be wrong. And then I have put out an opinion about a person who was an actual victim. But as it stands right now, I don't think there is an actual victim to this in this case. The victims in this case is as the family members who were completely worried about Carlee during the 49 hours that she was missing, and the community of Hoover, Alabama, who went above and beyond the call of duty as far as what good neighbors do when one of their own is missing. They get to put the word out about Carlee and the case. They went out and they searched diligently for this girl for days. And as the story continues to unfold, it starts to look like the community is feeling a bit betrayed, because who stops at Target for snacks and takes those snacks with them when they're abducted? And there were a lot of things put out there. Some people trying to be funny and making jokes about it after, applying some critical thought. And some people putting out information of things that they heard among the rumor mill. One of those things was about Carlee Russell eating Cheez-Its. Now, look, I know that sounds so stupid, and I hate that I even bring it in. I'm even bringing it up, but the fact that after those jokes were made about these Cheez-Its, then to learn that she did stop off at Target and get snacks, it makes me wonder who had that inside information, who knew that Carlee Russell may have had snacks in whatever situation she was in that wasn't an abduction. So if I haven't laid my cards on the table squarely enough for you, I am not of the belief that Carlee Russell was abducted. I I stopped believing that after I thought about driving down the highway. Um, I believed it initially because your initial reaction is to not question all these little details. It's to hope that this woman, this young woman, is found safe and sound and brought home to her family who love and miss her and are worried about her. But what it seems to be is a kid, and I'm saying kid because I'm older than Carlee by a considerable amount. um, Carlee was from a family who was at least upper middle class. They were well off. They were doing better than most. Carlee drove a Mercedes, so that's not a that's nothing to sneeze at. Your family has afforded you a beautiful home, a quality education. She's getting, she's going to school to be a nurse. They give you a beautiful car, and they probably, while you're living under their roof, this family seems to be a religious family. While you're living under their roof, there are probably a set of expectations. And it might have been a case where Carlee is tired of living up to those expectations. And this is speculation. Please don't quote this as fact. But if this were the case, she may have felt desperate to get out and live a little and do something spontaneous. And this thing grew and went out of control far faster than she could have even imagined. And here we are now. You are a national news story, and your family is still protecting you. They are still saying, yes, we believe she was abducted, when common sense, just a little application of common sense, says something else happened here. Now, there are those who are saying, yep, something else may have happened. She may have had a mental break, which that makes sense. She could have. You could have a mental break and think you see a toddler on the side of the road, and then you start trying to follow this toddler and try to help this imaginary baby that was on the side of the road. But you don't buy snacks and goodies because you ahead of time because you know you're going to see a toddler on the side of the road. That's not how those things usually work out. The kidnapper is not going to say, well, you know what, we won't take her purse and try to take money or credit cards or anything like that, but we will take the snacks that she bought from Target just a little while ago. That doesn't make sense. So just applying a little common sense, just say it to yourself, this is something that could not have happened in the way that she says that it happened. So I've said my piece. I tell y'all how I feel. I think this is a child who is expected to live up to a certain standard. She wanted to step a little bit below that standard, and she did some crazy stuff to do it. Now, if you've got your ideas, put it in the comments or the chat, wherever, and I will get to your comments as they come in. Also, I answer comments after the fact. So if you guys have something to say on the rebroadcast, I will be glad to answer your comments there too. Now, before this press conference starts in just a few minutes, I want to address us. And by us, I mean the Black community. Because there is a divide about this case. in the Black community. And many think that if you question the validity of the claim, not made by Carlee, but made by her parents, that she was abducted, that you are in some way, shape, or form anti-Black. You this is self-hate. This is you perpetuating the disbelief of Black women. I have said this. I have lived a very long time, and I can say with a surety, we all lie. Black women, white women, Hispanic women. We saw a very, very similar case of a few years back with, I think her name is Cheryl Papini, beautiful little white woman, went missing for weeks around the holidays and had children at home, the husband at home. When she returned after her story was held up to scrutiny, it started to fall apart. And the story fell apart to the point where we learned that she was out with another guy in another state, and she stayed there with him for all of those weeks, and then she decided to come home to her family. That's just critical thinking. Once the story starts to fall apart, that is not hating a person. That's not wishing that person was never found alive. I am 100% glad that the child is alive, because from alive, from the point where I'm breathing, you can overcome any other silly mistake that you've made because you're still on your feet, you're breathing. So while a lot of people are going to make jokes and ha-ha funnies, I'm not that person. She made a mistake, a huge mistake. And if Black people can't call other Black people out on a mistake because we're Black, then you're saying basically, nope, we're going to believe Black people until a white person tells us otherwise. That's what it sounds like to me when those people who say that you are never supposed to question just because this person is Black. That doesn't make sense. It does not help the community. It is in no way, shape, or form beneficial to anybody to walk around with blinders on and to uphold somebody in their wrongdoing just because you're the same race as them. And just like I called the Cheryl Papini case, I'm going to call the Carlee Russell case. And it's basically, it was bullshit. It was bullshit. So now it's 2:23 p.m. We got 7 minutes before Hoover PD starts making their statement. I'm really and truly looking forward to seeing exactly how hopefully this closes this case out, because, and excuse me, I'm going to cough. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this closes the case out, because I'm ready to talk about something else. This has been a conversation piece for the last 2 days. Like I said, national news. You've seen many a podcast, many a live stream, many social media commentators have come out and they have commentated. Now, I just want to hear from somebody who is detached from this situation, the police at this point, because the family has made their statement that they believe Carlee. Now, let's have the outside looking in tell us exactly what went down so that we could put this entire thing to rest. This is not me also, because I'm saying I'm tired of talking about it. This is not me saying that there should be no repercussions behind her if it is found that she made misleading statements to the police, whatever the punishment is for that, then we need to at least, she needs to be punished, because this is a person who, to try something this huge, to try an abduction, to try something this big, you had to get away with some little stuff underneath this. There, and there has to be consequences to the actions of one person who galvanized this whole community to do things that they wouldn't have had to done. Think about this heat wave we're going through in the United States, especially in the southern United States. You had people out in 90, 100-degree weather looking for you when you wasn't missing. That, to me, it's almost unforgivable. But again, you still have breath in your lungs, and you can come back from this. But the first step in coming back from it is to say, I made a mistake, I did something stupid, and I'm ready to pay the consequences. We don't double down on our mistakes. I don't think, and I talked to Wingrace in my chat earlier, saying feel better soon. His nose started running too. Wingrace is part of my other community on YouTube, that's After the Snap, where we talk about sci-fi and fun stuff, not the heavy stuff. We talk about the heavy stuff over here. And as you can see, I am fit to be tied. I thought that I had at least an hour of a voice in me, but gosh, I don't even think I got that long. We're going to try some water. If I got a hole in my lip, we're going to try some water. Hopefully, press conference, we talk a little bit about it on the other side of the press conference, and then I'll hang it up for a couple of days. I thought I could talk. That was wishful thinking. So yep, I'm going back over here, Hoover PD, trying to see if they're getting prepared. I don't see anything happening over here on their Facebook page just yet. Yeah, I'm ready for this conversation. Not so much to say I'm ready for it to be over, but I am, I'm ready to move on to anything else other than this Carlee Russell situation, and I'm saying that with the thought that we're going to find out that it was not what it seemed at all. So hopefully y'all, hang out with me, stick around, and if we hear something interesting, Lord have mercy. I don't know how much more interesting the case can get, to be quite honest. The only person that's like winning right now is the lady down here in Houston, Janie Santana, from the Rudy Farias case. I know she is so glad the heat is off of her for a little while. My goodness. It's 2:29. Let's hope they start expeditiously. Let's hope they start expeditiously. There we are. It's 2:30. Still got nothing. Oh, no problem. Y'all at work and everything. I'm sitting here I'm sitting here doing absolutely nothing but watching the Carlee Russell case unfold and hoping anything saves me from having to do that. It starts to honestly, it starts to become redundant. And then you have people who make stuff up. Now, this is a part of the case that I wasn't 100% sure was true, whether it's true or not. And that is when Carlee Russell was made it home and then she was taken to the hospital, that there were a number of employees at that hospital who have been terminated for basically violating her HIPAA privacy rights by going through her medical files, trying to figure out whether or not she was actually sexually assaulted. Now, that's taking shit a little too far, especially when you know that as a medical professional, you know exactly what HIPAA is. And you know that, especially in a case as high profile as this, they are going to be taking very seriously any unauthorized entry into her medical files. I understood, and this could all be rumor, I understood there to at least be 40 people who lost their jobs because they were going through her medical files to see what the files contained. That's freaking insane. And when you have a small community and they all feel invested in this case, no excuse for this behavior, but you see the lengths that people are willing to go to be the first to have information to break a story. I'm gonna pass this on to the scoopers. All we got to get out of this mentality that that everything is entertainment. That's a serious violation that opened up that hospital to a lot of litigation, and I'm pretty sure that it's coming, because whether or not Carlee Russell is lying about the baby and the abduction and all of this, if that's true, the family has one hell of a lawsuit. So if you thought, oh, the family's just doing this for money and attention, they're gonna get money and attention once that lawsuit is filed. If this allegation is true, that these people were literally accessing her medical files so that they can have information that other people didn't. I want Hoover Police Department to come on now. Come on, Hoover. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all said 2:00. Here we are.
Statement. After Chief's statement is complete, there will be an opportunity to ask a few questions regarding this investigation. Keep in mind that this is still an ongoing investigation, so there may be some questions that we cannot answer. With that, I will turn it over to Mayor Bucato.
Thank you and good afternoon for you all coming today. You know, 6 days ago, our community learned about the disappearance of Carlee Russell, and it sent fear and pandemonium not just through our city, but the entire state and the nation as well. The media quickly joined us to get the word out about Carlee. Our community sprung into action, and they organized search parties, arranged prayer vigils. They took other steps that I'm not even aware of to help in this situation. The Hoover Police Department quickly rallied multiple partner agencies, stopping at nothing to find Carlee. I'd like to take this time to say thank you first to the Hoover Police Department, our partner agencies, our wonderful community, and to all those that aided in some way in connection with this situation. As the days have gone on and more information has been shared, we know everyone has questions. The Hoover Police Department is known for being very methodical and thorough with their investigations. For that reason, we did not feel comfortable speaking in detail publicly until now. It is important that we share this information now so that our community can be put at ease. So at this time, I'll turn the microphone over to Hoover Police Chief Nick Dursis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank everyone for being here today.
Police chief.
Besides me stands the team who played a significant role in this investigation. I want to thank our department, members of surrounding local law enforcement agencies, the FBI, Secret Service, United States Marshals, and ALEA for their assistance in this case. We said from the evening of July 13th, our focus would be the safe return of Carlee Russell. That occurred on Saturday, July 15th, approximately 49 hours after she called 911 and disappeared. From that point, our focus has been to determine Carlee's whereabouts during that time and what exactly took place. Let me say up front, this investigation is not over. We're still working this case, and we'll work in this case until we uncover every piece of evidence that helps us account for the 49 hours that Carlee Russell was missing. However, through the public interest, and in some cases, public fear that this story has generated, we owe it to our citizens to tell them the facts that we have uncovered. So I will give you the facts that we know today. On July 13th, at approximately 8:20 p.m., Carlee left work from a business at the Summit. Surveillance video from her place of employment shows Carlee concealed a dark-colored bathrobe, a roll of toilet paper, and other items belonging to the business prior to her departure. She ordered food from Tzatziki's at the Colonnade and traveled there. She then traveled to Target on 280, where she purchased some granola bars and Cheez-Its. From there, she remained in the parking lot at that shopping center until 9:21 p.m. when she drove to I-459. Carlee communicated on her cell phone with individuals known to her while on her path of travel up to the point of calling 911 at 9:34 p.m. And at this time, we will play the 911 call in its entirety.
Somebody tell the chief where to look. Tell him where to look. Hit the play button. Hit the play button.
Hi, I am on Interstate 459, and there is a kid just walking by themselves. Oh, hold on. Where on 459 are you? I'm
Okay, they are playing the 911 call. I can't hear it.
Okay, so you're before the exit?
Win Grace.
Okay, and what's the child on the left or right side? On the right side. Were they walking northbound or southbound? They're walking towards Tuscaloosa. Walking southbound. How old do they look?
Yeah, I can't hear it.
Like a toddler? Like maybe like 3 or 4?
But since we can't hear it,
Are you still with them?
she left work. She took
Are you with the child right now?
some, did he say toilet paper and a robe?
I can see them though. Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them?
She stole some items from work.
Okay, what kind of car are you in?
So this is about to be the worst week ever for this girl. God, you'll lose your job. The entire nation about to know you liar.
Yeah, they're on. Okay. Did you talk to the child at all, or did you say anything to them? No. Okay. No. Do they look like they're injured?
I don't hear.
No, they don't. Are they Wi-Fi?
I don't see nobody saying that they can't hear it. Win Grace.
Okay. Is it male or female? I think it's a boy, a little boy.
But their live chat is also full of people trying to be funny.
Okay.
To be quite
What is he
frank.
wearing? It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper. And you don't see any cars anywhere? No cars anywhere.
Okay, yeah, we got some people who are saying they cannot hear the 911 call.
My name is Carlee Russell. And you don't
Okay, come on back, Chief, because I can't hear.
I don't want you to lose track of them. All right, and do they have shoes on? No. She not that I can see. I can't really see that look. Okay. All right. I've got them on the way. Okay. Just try to keep an eye on them, but the officers are on the way. Okay. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Carlee called a relative after speaking with the 911 operator. She went missing during that conversation sometime after 9:36 p.m. Traffic camera footage was obtained which depicted this portion of the incident, and that footage was analyzed as part of the investigation in conjunction with the 911 call and cell phone data to accurately determine the time frame. Carlee's 911 call remains the only report of a child on the interstate, despite numerous vehicles passing through the area at that time. No one has called to report that a child is missing, and the Hoover Police Department did not locate any evidence of a small child walking down the interstate. Data from Carlee's phone, including her Life 360 app, shows that she traveled approximately 600 yards in her vehicle while she was on the phone with 911, stating that she was following a child. 600 yards. That is 6 football fields.
6 football fields.
Straight. 600 yards.
So we're
Hoover
going to keep
911
that football. So
Center
that's the
received a
NFL
second
draft.
call from Carlee's mother, stating that a relative was on the phone with her when they heard Carlee scream, and then they had an open phone line. Hoover police officers arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of being dispatched, and several other officers arrived shortly. They located Carlee's wig and cell phone in the grass near the vehicle. Her purse was located in the front seat of her vehicle with her Apple Watch in the purse. The food she ordered for Tzatziki's was also in the car.
Oh, so she
The
didn't
items she
take that
purchased from
food.
Target, as well as the items taken from her place of employment, were not in the vehicle, nor were they located anywhere around the scene. Hoover police deployed all available assets from the point in the search for Carlee. Additional resources were called in to include our own drone unit, crime scene investigators. Numerous detectives responded to the scene. Throughout the day Friday, officers from surrounding local and federal agencies assisted Hoover police in the search for Carlee Russell. Officers returned to the scene on 459 to conduct a thorough line search for evidence. K-9 teams from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department responded to check for any sign of Carlee, the child that she claimed to see, and anything else that could be considered evidence in this case. Those searches all turned up empty. Private citizens, including search parties organized by her family, friends, began looking everywhere that they could to find any trace. These searches took place throughout the day Friday and again on Saturday, yielding nothing. At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 center receives a call from Carlee's residence stating that she returned home on foot. In subsequent investigations, detectives obtained surveillance footage of Carlee walking down the sidewalk alone prior to her arrival at her residence. She was conscious and speaking with paramedics when she was transported to UAB. Detectives were able to obtain a brief statement from her prior to being treated and released. During the statement, she told detectives that while traveling down the interstate, she saw a baby walking down the side of the road and called 911. She stated when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came out of the trees and mumbled that he was checking on the baby. She claimed that the man then picked her up and she screamed. She stated he then made her go over a fence. She claims he then forced her into a car, and the next thing she remembers is being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. She stated that the male was with a female. However, she never saw the female, only hearing her voice. She also told detectives she could hear a baby crying. She told detectives the male had orange hair with a big bald spot on the back. She said she was able to escape the 18-wheeler and fled on foot, only to be captured again and then was put in a car. She claimed she was then blindfolded, but was not tied up because the captor said they did not want to leave impressions on her wrists. She said that they took her into a house and made her get undressed. She believes they took pictures of her, but she does not remember them having any physical or sexual contact. She stated the next day she woke up and was fed cheese crackers by the female. She said the woman also played with her hair, but could not remember anything else. At some point, she was put back in a vehicle she claims was able to escape while it was in the West Hoover area. She told detectives she ran through lots of woods until she came out near her residence. During this interview, detectives noted that Carlee had a small injury to her lip, and she claimed that her head was hurting. She also had a tear in her shirt. Detectives also noted that she had $107 cash in her right sock.
Oh,
Out of respect for Carlee and her family, detectives did not press for additional information in this interview and made plans to speak with her in detail after giving her time to rest. Detectives continue analyzing data from Carlee's cell phone that was left behind at the scene. We enlisted the help of the United States Secret Service in conducting this analysis.
oh, Lord.
Part of what data includes several internet searches in the days leading up to her disappearance that I think are very relevant to this case. On July 11th at 7:30 a.m., the term, "Do you have to pay for an Amber Alert?" was searched. On July 13th at 1:03 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term, "How to take money from a register without being caught."
What?
searched. On July 13th at 2:13 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term Birmingham bus station was searched.
She was
On
trying
July
to bounce.
13th, 2:35 a.m., a search for a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville was conducted with a departure date of July 13th. On July 13th at 12:10 p.m., a search for the movie Taken, a film about abduction, was conducted. There were two searches related to Amber Alerts on a computer at Carlee's place of employment, including one regarding the maximum age of an Amber Alert. There were other searches on Carlee's phone that appeared to shed some light on her mindset, but out of respect for her privacy, we will not be releasing the content of those searches at this time. We've asked to interview Carlee a second time, but have not been granted that request. As you can see, there are many questions left to be answered, but only Carlee can provide those answers. What we can say is that we've been unable to verify most of Carlee's initial statement made to investigators, and we have no reason to believe that there is a threat to the public safety related to this particular case. Thank you very much.
With that, we'll open the
Whoa,
floor for
man.
questions. Raise your hand and I will call on you. Carol.
Chief, do you expect any charges against Carlee Russell in connection with the disappearance and in connection with what was taken from the Woodhouse hall?
Right now, our focus is to determine those 49 hours, so the investigation continues. So to be perfectly honest with you, that hasn't even entered our mind or been discussed.
One more question. Is it surprising to you that the family has not been cooperative in returning to be questioned?
Well, I think the family has stated to us that they didn't think that in her mental state right now, because of trauma of the incident, that she's not ready to talk, is what we've been told.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, question to the chief. You stated that the abductor had orange hair.
It's almost like I said, though. It sounded like she was trying to escape
Female, black female, white female.
them.
I believe it's a white male. Am I correct by saying that? Was it ever? Yeah, white male.
Is this alleged abductor yet on the loose in the Hoover area?
Don't believe so.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief Birmingham, WBRC, has a toxicology report been done, and were any drugs or illegal substances found in her system?
We have no report of that.
Is any indication of mental illness in this case?
Not that I'm aware of.
Lisa.
There's been a concern in the community that if this turned out not to be a true story, that the next time a young woman of color was missing, that it might not be taken seriously. How would you respond to that?
I'd respond to say that we investigate every crime to the fullest, just like we have this one.
Was she traveling with anyone? Was she traveling with anyone since the time she disappeared, to your knowledge?
And not to my knowledge.
Chief, I know you said you weren't able to verify a lot of aspects of the story. Where do you think she went? How would you characterize what happened?
You know, that's the $100 question. You know, we pretty much know exactly what took place from the time she left work until she got on the 911 call, and we can see getting out of the car on the interstate from that footage. And after that, I think she only knows. We don't know.
Well, one quick follow-up. Her parents. Did you speak with Carlee's parents, and why do you think it is they were so adamant that there was an abductor
Yeah, I think parents are believing what their daughter's saying, and we've had a very good rapport with the parents, met with them on several occasions. I've talked to them today a few times, and to make them understand that we're under pressure from our community, not only in our community of the state, but nationally when the story hit. And I just wanted them to understand that today we were going to have a press conference, and what we were going to detail today are facts. And everything that I've told you today is actual facts. It's not innuendos. It's not what I think. It's not what these detectives think. It is the factual information that we have.
Now that is what I appreciate. I don't want what you think.
Well, I think our detectives have talked to the parents, and we're ready. We're ready to talk as soon as she's ready. So, she called right now. We're ready.
One word to describe what went on. What was that?
Ooh, how about unknown? We know the facts that we have. Everything else is unknown at this time.
In the back.
What have the past few days been like for you, your department? This has been a struggle.
And see, when Grace,
Well, absolutely.
I was kind of
Again, the
thinking,
focus of
she
the
imagined she was
investigation,
planning something, but
that
just
Thursday
happened
when
to
she went
stumble
missing, of
into
course,
an
the focus
actual
was to
creek.
get Carlee home. That's what we
It
want
would be
all. We
so
wanted her
hard to
safe
prove.
and sound. And that's
Exactly.
all happened. And then, of course,
She
this
did
is
all of
this has
this,
gotten to
not
be not only a
realizing that
local state
she's
story,
ill.
but a national story.
She put herself in more danger because now you're disconnected from your
It is. It's a
phone.
lot of
Any
stress
way
on
that you can get in
everyone in the
contact
Hoover
with
Police
help.
Department, the mayor, to every citizen here. We want to know the truth.
As you stand here, are you frustrated?
I wouldn't say I'm frustrated. I mean, I'm very happy that Carlee's home. That was the main ingredient here, and then we'll figure it out. I promise you that we'll end up figuring it out.
Any idea about the number of manpower hours or the expense of the drones and all the rest of the search that might cost the city and state?
They said they
Yeah,
didn't tie her
we
up
haven't had time to
because they
consider
didn't want to
that, but it's
leave imprints on her
again, these
wrist.
detectives that are here. This is just a small group of people that have been associated with this case. We have put every available resource that we have on this case because we wanted to make sure that we found out everything. We wanted to get her home, and we have.
Chief, is there any prior indication of mental health problems?
Not that I'm aware of.
Could you just expand on the people?
I think the chief would rather be anywhere else in the world right now.
What are they doing exactly as you all were searching for them? Just expand on that.
Sure. A lot of the from the FBI side, several agents helping us interview. I mean, as you well know, in a case like this, especially when it goes national, we got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls. And when you get those calls, some of them may just be outlandish, but you've got to follow up on them because you never know that you may get that one tidbit. And I'd also say too that we had a great cooperation with the family. The family received hundreds and hundreds of tips, and every time they got a tip, they sent it to us.
Would you say a crime has been committed?
No, we have not determined that. No.
Keith Mims, WAGG 610 Summit Media. Question for Chief. With all the searches that you mentioned, Chief, that were on Carlee's phone, does that kind of give you an indication of her mind state during this ordeal?
Look, I would be frustrated too. Hey there, Lysandra, girl.
Well,
I would be frustrated
again,
too.
we want to talk in
with what you
facts,
just
and
said
I do
happened.
think it's highly unusual to the day that someone gets kidnapped, that 7 hours, 8 hours before that they're searching the internet, Googling the movie Taken about an abduction. I find that very, very strange. Yes.
Yeah, that's too big of a coincidence.
Do you feel confident your investigators?
I should have been taking notes here. I really should have, so I can remember all of these high points.
No, we do not know. Absolutely not.
of this press conference.
While I believe you said that Carlee was on the phone with 911, she was traveling 6 football fields, which tells you what?
Which tells me that I've had kids, and I'm sure a lot of people here have, and it's very, very, again,
I
she
don't
said
know if there's
I'm
a
not
way
saying
to
it couldn't
track
happen
them
because I've
all.
always been
Like
one of
you
these
said,
guys,
when
never
Grace
say
is
never.
when they're on duty,
6 football
or if
fields.
they were like
I like
privately
I like
owned. Now,
athletics, like football.
if you're an
6 football
18-wheeler
fields. To think that a
owned
toddler
by another
barefoot
company,
that
you
could
should
be
be
3 or 4
tracked. They
years
should be
old
able to be
is
tracked.
going to travel 6
But if you
football
are an
fields
independent
without getting in the roadway,
driver,
without crying,
you might
without
not have to
any
have
just
tracking
moving
on
down.
your vehicle.
It's just very hard for me to understand.
Chief, have you used any technology to enhance that video from 459? And did you see a man grab her?
We did not see, from what we can tell, we don't see anybody on the interstate other than her car and then someone getting out of her driver's side. We have sent that off to the FBI for enhancement. It has not been returned.
Do you think in this case
Just
that
imagine.
will be
if to get off of the interstate, you got to go through them woods. You walking through some woods with a
Well, again,
bathrobe,
that's not
some
something that we would
toilet
discuss as we're
tissue,
going through the
a bag of
full
food,
investigation. But people have to understand
and
that
$170 in
when
your
someone
sock.
says something like this, we put every available resource.
She
Everybody
could have
comes
been
together from
killed,
state,
snatched,
local, federal.
whatever, in them
It's
woods,
just
and
a
nobody
lot
would
of
have
work,
known any different. She
and
could have started this whole thing off like Winbury said,
gentleman early said
on
frustrated. I
some
mean, it is a little frustrating
I'm
to
trying to
think
get
that
away stuff,
all this has
and
been done and
stumbled
we
into
can't
somebody who was really intent on hurting somebody that night. She's lucky to be alive.
No, not to my knowledge.
All right, last question here.
Is this investigation held up until you can speak once again, Carlee Russell?
Well, there's a few things that we're still doing, but obviously we want to talk to
Yeah, they
Carlee
fed
as
her
soon as we
the
can.
same food, the same cheese
And do an
crackers
in-depth interview.
that she
And
bought.
at that time,
They must have been
I
like,
think we
this
have
this
the
is her
investigators and
favorite.
some other
Let's
folks.
just go ahead on and give it
That's
to
all
her.
the questions we're going to
Granola bars and
appreciate you guys coming
and
following up
Cheez-Its.
with y'all later. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Chief walked away. He made his little lackey get his papers, and that's it. Chief said, I'm through. I'm not answering no more questions. Well, it wasn't the close. I wanted this to be over. It doesn't sound like it's over. But it did. It is an illuminating press conference. It's starting from the point of all of the things leading up to the day of her disappearance. Yeah, they took pictures but didn't actually abuse her. Yeah, because a picture is worth, I guess, 1,000 words. So I guess they like, shoot, we could talk about what we could have did with her. I don't know. It's all weird. Yeah, he did. He did not walk away. That was the old man equivalent of running away from that podium. Sorry, guys. But okay, so yeah. So the days leading up to her disappearance, we see that she researched whether you have to pay for an Amber Alert. So she, first and foremost, Amber Alerts are for minors, for children. In her case, it would be an alert called an Ashanti Alert. Ashanti Alerts cover people more in that age group. So she was wondering if you have to pay for it. So she knew that people were going to look for her and that there were going to be alerts put out there. And she knew it ahead enough. She knew enough to look to see if she would have to pay for it. If, I guess, it all came to pass that she was okay. That's odd. That's odd. And then she looked up, how do you steal money from a register without getting caught? And she looked that up. Of course, the internet has an answer for everything. But then you think about the fact that she literally probably stole money from her job, which is probably where the $170 in her sock came from. It makes me wonder whether her parents would know if she went into her bank account and took $170 or $200 or whatever amount and would ask her, what did you do with that money? Why did you need that much money out at once? What was you doing with that? So that's another interesting tidbit. She had $170 in her pocket. In her sock. And she did that search for how do you steal money without getting caught? Okay. Day of the abduction, she looks for the movie Taken. Now, if you don't remember what Taken is, and I believe that is the Liam Neeson movie. Like what the first one was like one of my favorite kind of abduction movies. We are not going to hear the end of that. People are about to start making memes right now about Taken. but you guys remember that movie, Taken. I'm going to I'm gonna put an image an image from the movie, because this is when the man answered the phone and he was. Y'all remember that movie with Liam Neeson? And Liam Neeson played the same character in about 400 different movies after this, because he did such a fantastic job in Taken. Now, she looked that movie up, so she knew that that people was going to turn every stone to find her. I want to pick up some of your comments. When Gray says, unless they were keeping her for a potential sale and the pics were for buyers. Sorry, that got dark. I mean, that's sinister silhouettes. So if by some stretch of imagination she's telling the truth, then that makes sense. What you just said there makes sense. That they taking pictures of her and they doing her hair, and what else did she say? Yeah, they did her hair, and they didn't want to put bruises on her arms or whatever by tying her up, because they were going to trade her off and they didn't need her to be looking like she had just been in a fight. So that makes sense. Buzz says they put a lot of people on this. Can she get in trouble for this? Well, especially since we know now that she is doubling down. She is saying this actually occurred. I was actually abducted. She is saying that now to the police. So once you make that statement to the police, I was abducted, and now they're investigating and all of this stuff, maybe they could say, you set all of this in motion and you are the person responsible for lying to the police, which, let me make sure, because I know if you lie to the FBI, you've committed a crime. Is lying to the police. In Alabama, So, false reporting to law enforcement authorities is a Class A misdemeanor. So it's a misdemeanor. She could get in trouble, and then she may have to all the money that they spent using the drones and the dogs and the manpower and all of that. They could put her on the hook for that, for sure. She would end up on a hell of a payment plan with the state of Alabama. Yeah. When Gray says, was there a redheaded guy with a bald spot in Taken? It better not have been. I don't remember. It's been so many years. Bun, you said these was your favorite movies, or these were some of your favorites. Do you remember a redheaded guy with a bald spot in the movie Taken? I don't think so. It was like the dude, the people in Taken, they were kind of more classy criminals. So yeah. So she says, now they say, the police, after the Taken thing, okay, then the day comes of this big event, and she does go get the tzatziki's, and she did leave the food in the car. So that food was left in the car. Her wig, her cell phone, her Apple Watch, purse, she left the whole car, and she set off on foot in some way, shape, or form, because he didn't say that anybody picked her up. But she took the stuff that she bought from Target. So that's the stuff that she needed that with her. The rest of that stuff needed to be in the car to sell the story that she was on her way home when this horrible thing happened. I'm sorry. I'm going to end soon because the talking for a long period of time, I guess I can't do it can't do it without all this coughing. I apologize for that. Like I said, I just got over the flu, so I thought I was good to talk, but my voice is not itself. It's not normal yet. So after she goes to work, she works her shift. I'm guessing she worked the shift because she needed to get a few things, to include the money, some toilet paper, the robe. She stole like that little stuff. And she gets in the car. She makes a stop at Taziki's, buys the food for no reason because nobody was going to ever eat it. Then she's gone. She's gone. So now, from that point, we got her story, which is a man came out of the woods, said, I was checking on the baby. And then he picked her up and whisked her away, made her climb a fence, which to me tells me that's what she did. She climbed a fence somewhere. Made her climb a fence and put her in the back of an 18-wheeler where they fed her Cheez-Its and did her hair. Took some pictures and blindfolded her after she had already seen them. Well, she didn't see the woman. She never saw the woman, she said. But the man blindfolded her after she had already seen his face. That doesn't sound like a very smart trafficker to me. So there was that. She escaped. Now, once she escapes, wouldn't they tie her up then? Wouldn't they say, we can't risk you escaping again, so we're going to tie you up, whether or not it's going to leave a few marks on you or not? But instead, these are the most nonchalant kidnappers in the world because she got away again. But this time she got away and she ran through some woods, and the woods just happened to be right at her neighborhood. You said he let her go. He didn't let her go. She said she escaped. She escaped twice. That didn't even make sense. She escaped the first time. They caught her and put her back in the 18-wheeler. And then they're doing a lot of driving, but they've never left Hoover, Alabama. They took her to a house too. I forgot about the house. They took her to a house and they never left Hoover, Alabama. So now they put her back in this, whatever. She gets away again and she runs through some woods, and it just happens to lead straight into the neighborhood where her parents' home is. And as Lysandra says, make it make sense. It doesn't. It makes no sense whatsoever. It only makes sense if you are telling a story from a very limited life experience. The older you get, the better you would probably get at telling this kind of lie. But with 25 years of life experience, she just don't have enough. And to probably be sheltered. But what it sounds like to me, like they said, she was looking for Greyhound tickets to Nashville. Something is in Nashville that she wanted, or she was just going there to hang out, or she was going there to start over, a whole new life. I don't know. It sounds like a movie on Tubi. It does. It doesn't sound believable. And it sounds like, yeah, very low budget. So you got a whole community of people who are still going to feel betrayed because this girl is still doubling down on the story. Now, that said, there is no official end right now to the story. The police say the investigation is still open. They are still hoping to talk to Carlee more. I'm looking at it like I could still be wrong. Of course I could. I could be wrong. She could have been abducted. Or I could be halfway right. I'll meet you in when Grace is halfway, where she set all this stuff in motion and then some real BS really went down. But nobody's going to believe you. You're the child that cried wolf at this point. Nobody is going to believe you that this went. Nobody's going to believe you, sis. Nobody's going to believe you. So I was hoping it would be over after the press conference. Looks like there's more to the saga. I can't say that I'm going to follow it closely. It is so disheartening to think that instead of sparing everybody the agony of your parents, because we're going to have to watch them unravel if it's found out more is found out about this, because like they said, they've got other evidence. They didn't want to share it out of respect for Carlee. But now you got the freaking Secret Service going through your phone. Baby, if you think that the movie Taken was like, I made it, you have made it, sister. You are on the radar now of the U.S. Secret Service, the highest law enforcement officers of the Treasury Department. Because that makes sense too. But anywho, yeah, this is not good. This is not good at all. I don't know what more to say about it. Do y'all have anything else to add? Because this was I mean, it's it's sad. Yeah, it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. So when Grace, if you're still listening, sir, I appreciate you for being here. Tell all our friends in the Star Trek circles that I was gonna try to do a video and get back on track, but you can hear that I am not in no shape to talk for. Look, this is an hour, and I started melting down before the police even started the press conference. I can't do 30 minutes of conversation, so I definitely I can't do Engage Live just yet. I thought I would be good, but you thinking that you are yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do, sir. So tell all our Star Trek friends that I can't talk. As incredible as that might sound, I can't talk. And thank y'all for hanging out with me. I'm gonna go and rest my voice for a little bit. See you in the next one.